Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of my favorite trip to the movies. Before we get started, just want to give a huge shout out to all the healthcare workers and the teachers and just all the essential workers right now, just helping us get through this difficult time. This is the series where we discuss our favorite movie theater memories, our favorite movie theater concession items, and just kind of the overall awesomeness of going out and experiencing art. When we can all do that again. It does seem like movie theaters are coming back in a limited capacity right now, so I think things are looking up, hopefully. Joining us on today's episode is the awesomely talented Julia Gralczyk. Julia is a super talented filmmaker, a super talented photographer, and you should definitely check out www.juliagralczyk.com. I definitely recommend if you need if you need an awesome photographer, or you're working on film, definitely reach out to Julia. Julia's film Proved Doubters won Best in Show and Achievement in Production Value at the 2012 Schaumburg Screen Test Student Fest High School Film Festival. In 2013, Julia's film Disillusion won Achievement in Writing Award at the same festival. And in 2019, Julia was an editor for the short film Midnight, which was officially selected for the 2019 NYC Mental Health Film Festival. You should also definitely check out Julia Gralczyk, photographer, on Instagram as well. Adding on to that, Julia and I both did film club in high school, and Julia is also works currently she works with the Schaumburg Film Fest to help it keep going every year, so yeah, it's many awesome, one of the best people to talk movies and film with for sure. Sorry, I'll stop talking. Julia, how are you today on this March Thursday night?
I'm doing great. Thank you for the shout out, Joey. I definitely appreciate it. Prove doubters wrong. Don't look it up. Now that I look back at it, like while it won back in the day, it's definitely not on par for winning anything nowadays. So a great achievement back in 2012. It didn't age very well. So, but you know what? You got to just keep making movies, and every time gets better.
Hey, exactly. Just if it's better to make something than to not make some. Just keep making stuff no matter what, and eventually, something will be what you want it to be.
Yes, absolutely agree. So keep making movies, people. They're all
And
going to be awful, but they're going to be less awful every time.
perfectly said, Julia. And on that note, Julia, what is your favorite movie theater memory, or one of them?
So the one that comes to mind, definitely not my favorite, but the most memorable, um, was back 2005. Um, my parents were going out to a party or to their friend's house or whatever, and I really didn't want to go with them. So they let me stay home. I was probably like 10 at the time. I stayed home by myself. They're like, just hang out. And I was like, cool. My older brother was coming back from like hanging out with his friends, and he asked me, hey, do you want to come to the movies with us? And this was a big deal for me because my brother's 8 years older than I am. So we didn't really hang out a ton. He was a high schooler. I'm mostly into like ponies at the time. So I was like, this is a big deal. Like my older brother wants me to hang out with his friends, go to the movies. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Thing is that this was like an evening showing of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And it was probably like a 9 or 9:30 showing, which is like way too late for a 10-year-old. And definitely not a good idea for a 10-year-old who was supposed to stay at home. So I told my brother, I was like, hey, call mom. This is the time before like texting was really a big thing. I was like, just call mom, let her know that I'm leaving with you. He's like, yeah, okay, whatever, no big deal. We go to the movie theaters. It's freaking awesome. Like, I've never watched Star Wars in my life, but like thought Hayden Christensen was the cutest thing that walked the planet, didn't even care that he was evil. It was just like an overall really cool experience. I was like on a high from just like hanging out with my brother. I felt so cool. And to this day, people make fun of me for it, but Star Wars Episode 3, one of my favorite Star Wars movies, even though everyone's like, it's the worst one, it just has left such a nostalgic imprint for me. So still always count that one as a favorite. But the showing was so late. And of course, by the time the previews go through and you like watch the credits, we got home and it's like 3 a.m. And my parents, they come home, we walk in and they're like still up and they like see us and they turn purple. And they're like, where have you been? I was like, what are you talking about? I was at the movies with my brother. And they're like, nobody told us. And Bart's like, oh yeah, I forgot to call mom, let her know that I was gonna take you with. And they thought I got like abducted from the house. Because of course I didn't have a phone. My brother didn't answer his because he was in the movies. So it's the one and only time I ever got grounded as a kid for for gonna go see a movie with my older brother and coming home at 3 in the morning.
Oh, that is such a fun, that is awesome story. And I love, and hey, I absolutely agree with you about Revenge of the Sith. That is an awesome Star Wars movie. And that, like, if you're going to see a Star Wars movie on the big screen, that's got it all. It's got literally, I'm just thinking of the end fight on the, I can't think of the name, but they're on the fire planet and they're
Right.
like
And he's
that
like disintegrating and he was like, you are the chosen one. And he's just like melting. So good.
And like, yeah, seeing that at like 10 years old and like being up till like 3 in the morning, that would be just like you'd be the coolest person ever.
Yeah, it was totally worth it. To this day, and even me, I didn't even mind being grounded for a week or whatever it was.
So then that was your first Star Wars movie at the theater then, you said?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't think I saw. I it was never like super into Star Wars. My little brother ended up getting really into Star Wars, so we had them all at home. I don't think I went back to see a Star Wars movie in theater until the recent one. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called. That's how much into Star Wars I am.
Oh, hey, but Revenge of the Sith though, I absolutely agree with you. That's such a fun movie. And oh my gosh, that is, and yeah, I like what you said about, because that really was that time where like we had technology, but like it wasn't in our everyday lives. So like you could totally miss a text or totally like not
Yeah,
post something. It'd be totally fine.
absolutely. So now it'd be a little bit different. You just like send a text, like headed out, locked the door, bye. But back then it was a big deal. You had to like pay for every text or whatever, unless you had a plan of some kind, or if it was like after 9 o'clock.
Oh yeah, the text plans. That's a whole nostalgia throwback right there. Now, Julia, what are some of your favorite movie theater concession items?
So I am definitely a traditionalist, movie theater popcorn, but my husband and I will argue about this. That he likes his like all natural, like no butter, no salt. He's like, it's healthier this way. And I am like a full butter, full salt kind of gal. Like popcorn doesn't like makes me sick anyway. Like it never bodes well with my stomach. So if I'm eating popcorn, like I want it to be delicious, full force. Um, so all the way, bucket of popcorn, movie theater butter is a must, extra salt, and a soda. Just like classic.
Exactly. If you're gonna get the stomach ache, go all out. Why not? It's worth it.
Exactly. And the thing is, we always, my husband's eyes are bigger than his stomach. I always say he's always like, let's get the largest. Last time we went to the Bloomingdale Dollar Theater, and they have some like new shareable. It's like called a share bag or whatever, and it's literally we call it the trash bag. It's like a giant plastic trash bag full of popcorn. He's like, no, we'll eat it. We like didn't even get halfway through before we like couldn't do it anymore. But every time it's like, let's get the biggest one. I'm like, we're not gonna eat it. He's like, it doesn't matter. Let's do
Oh,
it.
that's awesome. Much that is so cool. I have to go to that theater now just to get that, just to experience that.
It's only like $10. You get like a huge bag of popcorn and a bucket of soda. It's like disgusting, but totally worth it.
Oh, when you go to the movies, you gotta get the bucket of soda.
The problem is then you have to go pee in the middle of the movie, and it's just like it's a hard life out there at the movie theaters.
It is. Did you ever see? I'm trying to think of a. There's two movies. Did you ever see Midsummer or Uncut Gems? Either of those?
Uncut Gems, is that the one with Adam Sandler?
Yeah,
Yes, that one I saw. I didn't see Midsummer though.
but Uncut Gems. That's like I saw it at the theater, and that's the most stressful movie I've ever seen. And I had the drink, and I had to go to the bathroom like 3 times during that movie. I was like, that was like the worst it's ever been because I was like, I should not have had caffeine during that movie. That was a bad decision. So
That movie was crazy. We watched it at home and it was just so suspenseful the whole time. You're like, when is just shit gonna hit the fan? It was I think it was one of the best performances, like non-comical performances of Adam Sandler that I've ever seen.
yeah, absolutely agreed. I was just so stressed out for him that whole movie. Yeah, Howie. Yeah. And also I also wanted to throw in there. I know this isn't technically like a movie theater movie, but something I really appreciate about when we all go to the Schaumburg Film Fest, which I know unfortunately has been postponed this year. I've heard.
Yeah, again. So it'll be 2 years now. No film fest. I think they did it online
Mhm.
last year.
Yeah, so
Um,
hopefully soon that can get back up and running because that's such a
mhm.
cool event, and I love always I love seeing that happen. But they have Diet Dr Pepper at that where they have that, and that just like makes me so happy every time.
You are such a Dr. Pepper fanatic.
Oh, it's so good. Or they just oh my gosh. So anywhere you can have Diet Dr Pepper is like
You'll be there.
I'll be there. Now for the final segment of the show, Julia, what's kind of your take on the overall importance of being able to, because obviously streaming is awesome, and it's so great we have so many streaming options right now, and best time to stream stuff for sure. But what's your take on the awesomeness of being able to go out and experience a movie with an audience in that setting, in that atmosphere?
So we, my husband actually went to the movie theaters last weekend for the first time since the world shut down. We were just like so sick of watching movies at home. Not that it's not an experience in its own, but there's something about getting a little bit dressed up, leaving your house in a time where like you can't do anything, like you're not going to work, you're not leaving to go to school, you're not going to a wedding, you're really not traveling anywhere, to be able to just like experience something in a different location um, was really special and felt so great. And there's also, there was only a few other people in the movie theater. The movie was awful. I'm not going to name it, but that's also part of the experience, is like
Exactly.
not knowing what you're really seeing. And there was only a few people in the audience, but it still felt like you were watching something with a community of people. And I miss those days where you would see those, movies where the theater's packed and people laughed all together, people, gasp or clap. And I really miss those times where you just experience films in a group setting with a community. So I can't wait until we can get back to that, and just like back to art in general, just like experiencing art physically. Like my parents and my family, we eat up like every free concert and movie at the park at Millennium Park. And that was also just such an event. Like you sometimes you didn't even know what you were gonna go see or listen to, but the going out, getting dressed, making a picnic, experiencing something together, and just being in awe of something, um, like just marveling at the world in a time where the world is so disappointing. I can't wait till we can really get back to that full force. There's actually a quote from Pope John Paul II, probably not a person that anyone's ever quoted, but he had a special place in his heart for artists. And he said that they not only enrich our culture and our heritage, but um, they also render an exceptional social service for the common good. It's something that we're all here to experience, and whether or not we like it, the art that we are consuming molds our culture and molds who we are as people. And it can be so, I don't want to say disappointing, but I just don't think during this time we've consumed the best media, when you kind of see what kind of social media we're watching, or God forbid I go on a tangent on Netflix kids shows. I have a niece that is just watching the most atrocious things. Um, I can't wait until we can, go out and experience good art that makes us reflect, that inspires us, and just molds us into something a little bit more cultured than maybe what we've kind of become isolated at home. It's been, it's its own experience streaming. You can still do it with a community, but it's not quite the same.
Oh, that was so beautifully said. I'm gonna start tearing up, Julia. That was awesome. And yeah, I love what you said about, because obviously, isolation at home too. Like you said, like, yeah, that's an experience, but like when you're going out with the community and you all take in what's, that's so beautifully said. Thank you for saying that.
You know what I thought of too? You have that show where you talk about movies in the parking lot.
Oh yeah,
Shout out to that. Link down below. Just kidding. But one thing that I really miss, we went to go see the movie, and you get in the car, and that drive home after the movie is just such an open space to talk about it. And you don't really get that at home. Sometimes you just like turn it off. You're like, okay, let's go to bed. But that very simple experience of just reflecting and discussing the film in the car on the ride home is something really special and unique to going out to see a movie.
That was so awesomely said. And kind of tying that in with you said about the drive, what you said about like even if it's a bad movie, I love what you said about that too, because there's been like so many times where we've gone to see like a bad movie, like, and at the theater, but like when you're at the theater, even if it's a bad movie, you have to be locked in. You're not going to, oh, I can go do this while the movie's on, or I'm just gonna be on my phone. You're there, you're in that world for that hour and a half, 2 hours. So like even when you're driving home after that bad movie, you're analyzing it, no matter how, like you said, you're not going to forget about it because you were locked in that world.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes you, one, a better movie watcher, and two, a better filmmaker, I think, because you can say, why wasn't this movie good? Was it like the casting, which in this particular movie was the casting. Another tangent I could go on is casting high school students, casting like 30 plus year olds as high school students. We need to just end this trend. We need to end it right now. So like casting or character development, or was the camera work weird, or the story not complete? So bad movies have their place as well, definitely.
Oh, I'm so excited for movies to come back after you said that, because analyzing all that in the movie, that's so well said. And when you said about like the audience, like a packed audience, what's like what's the most crowded movie you've ever been at, or was there ever a particular movie you're at, or was it Revenge of the Sith, where like everyone was just like reacting to stuff super like in a way?
Avengers Endgame was just, I saw it twice in theaters, every time packed to the brim. And even myself, like, who watched it for the second time in theaters, still reacted to the same things everyone else was reacting to. I think it's that, like, spoiler alert, when that Thor's hammer comes into Captain America's hand and everybody starts clapping and cheering, and you might not even be a super Avengers fan, but you just totally get into it because everybody else got into it.
Yeah, that scene, that was a top, probably like a top moment of my life right there. I'm so glad we got to talk about it in this video. Oh my gosh, that was like the theater, like that movie is like, oh my gosh.
And it had so many funny moments too. It really kept, it was a long movie, but it definitely kept the audience engaged in a way in the theater that you just wouldn't get at home.
Exactly. Yeah, that one would be like, because 3 hours at home, like, you never see a movie that's 3 hours at home, you're like, I could probably pause it and stuff, but yeah, not with Avengers Endgame. That had to have been at the theater.
Yeah, definitely.
And I do want to mention too, like, I also recently went to the movies again, so that was pretty nice too, to do that.
All the Marvel Avenger movies?
Or I went back to the movie theater recently too, kind of like how you said you guys went.
Yeah, definitely not a lot of people there. But what's really great about Bloomington, and we're just doing it, or Bloomingdale, just a promo for Bloomingdale Picture Show, is they also have the loungy chairs. They used to be super cheap because they didn't have the lounge chairs, but now they do. So it's like all around great experience for half the price.
Okay, awesome. We'll definitely have to check that out. I love a good lounge chair.
So glad they brought those into theaters, because it makes it so much more fun.
It changed the whole game. Before we close, Julia, do you have anything coming up? Anything you want to promote? Any what are some closing thoughts?
Oh my goodness. You pretty much did all the promo for me, juliagralczyk.com, for any of your photo video needs. I'm actually working on 2 super cool projects right now for a sustainable clothing company and for a margarita in a can company. It's just doing some freelance commercial work. So that's super cool, trying to keep the editing game up. I work for a political firm, so sometimes political commercials get a little bit mundane. So you have to keep up with your creativity and your outside projects. And that's pretty much it. Don't have anything else that I need to promote right now or have coming up.
Hey, that's so awesome. That's so exciting about the margarita in a can, as well as the sustainable clothing. Both super cool stuff. We'll definitely, I'll be looking out for that. And as Julia said too, definitely do it www.juliagralczyk.com and also a photography Instagram account, which we'll post the link below. Definitely check those out and reach out to her if you want to any awesome photo or film stuff. You know who to call. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching and have an awesome rest of your day.
Thank you so much for having me.